Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome to the landing tutorial for the JustFlight Avro RJ series. In this tutorial we are going to have a look at what makes the RJ special during the landing, as you need to apply some procedures that you may not be very used to during your standard approaches. Now let's go ahead and get right into it. We are arriving from a stabilized approach, and this is the basis for any good landing. Always remember that. Now, we're approaching with our speed at 5 knots above the VREF speed for our flap setting. So, VREF 121 over here. So that means our approach speed is going to be 126. We are going to maintain the speed on the way down, but, and here comes the differences in the RJ. At approximately 200 feet, we are going to start to reduce our speed from the approach to cross the threshold at the threshold speed, and the threshold speed is VREF. Now, the RJ does not reduce speed very well. This means we will pull the air brake completely out at around 100 feet the latest. In turbulent conditions you may pull it out quite a bit earlier, up to 500 feet, in order to increase the engine thrust to maintain your speed, which provides for a little bit more stabilized approach. But the important thing here, between 1 and 200 feet, air brake full out. Now, ideally, when the air brake is fully selected at 100 feet, you should not need to do any change in your thrust. That is according to the textbook. You all know how textbooks are. Under ideal conditions that may work. In practical terms, you may need a little bit of a thrust increment. As the air brake comes out, the aircraft does have a tiny bit of a pitch up moment, which you might have to correct by applying a little bit of a nose down input. Do not prolong the flare. A better stopping distance is achieved by touching down a little fast rather than by floating down the runway, especially with the tailwind. In the RJ100, be mindful of your attitude, as a high attitude combined with a high sink rate could lead to a tail strike in the RJ100. The spoilers should automatically deploy on touchdown. However, as a backup, we will select the air brake selector from the out position into the lift spoiler position, which happens automatically if your joystick spoiler lever is in the full position. So, immediately once all 3 landing gears are on the ground, apply balanced braking to get you towards the aimed runway exit in an ideal condition with minimum runway occupancy time. Alright then, let's disable the active pause and we are going to start flying our approach. So, autopilot coming off, auto throttle coming off, and now it's all about flying a stable approach. So 126 knots is our speed target. Let's aim to maintain exactly 126.
Approaching 1-5.
Checked. So that's 126 knots. Ideally, you use minimal thrust inputs and minimal control column inputs to keep your aircraft on the optimal trajectory. In any case, you should do very small corrections only, so that you do not over-control the aircraft on the final approach. Okay, keep an eye on the radio altimeter. It's at 300 now. At 200 we start slowly pulling the speed brake. Okay.
Minimums.
Continue. Okay, reaching 200. Speed brake is slowly coming out.
100.
And that's full speed brake. The speed is coming back nicely.
550.
Disregard
40,
that.
30.
Flare.
20.
But don't float.
10.
Come on. Right onto the marker.
Spoiler together with 3. Brake pressure check.
Okay. In an ideal case, if I had reduced my thrust a little bit earlier, we would probably have touched down on time. I did reduce the thrust a little bit late, have to admit that. Alright, so here's our runway exit. Be at a ground speed of 60 knots or less when you're entering the exit, but always remember that is ground speed, not indicated airspeed. Alright, and then we are going to vacate that runway. Once we're clear of the runway, bring the aircraft to a stop in order to do the after landing procedures. In the real world, you would try and keep it rolling. For the purpose of the tutorial, however, we are going to stop it. So, welcome to Hamburg. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope that you have learned something today. Remember, reduce your thrust to idle a tiny bit earlier than I did. Normally at around 20 feet should work rather well, and then you will not float on your landing as well. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you've learned something. As always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe if you're up for more. And if you really love what I'm doing on the channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching and see you all again on the next one.